was a Christian believer, and then he became an anti-Christian, and he had a lot of change. He's been going through a lot, and based on what he wrote. His brother complained about him, and I think reported him to the police, and his sister likewise complained about him. His family was very concerned. He was probably a pretty sick guy.
I saw cops standing up while other people had the luxury of crouching down, but there have been reports critical of security last night. What's your take on the security at the hotel and whether or not it was sufficient?
What security, Trey? I mean, every one of us has now gone on air and explained what we went through. You walk up to the hotel, and this is every single year we've had this, even when it was President Biden in the room. You walk up to the hotel, and some of the streets are closed. You're asked to flash your ticket. Okay, you might have a fake ticket, who knows. They let you in onto the property. You walk right into the building. There are no mags when you walk into the building. Nobody asks you, are you here for the dinner? Are you a guest? Nothing. And you walk right into the pre-parties. You know, Fox had a pre-party, and I walked right in. Nobody asked me anything. And there are cabinet secretaries at these pre-parties. In fact, the Speaker of the House was my guest at the Fox pre-party, and he was there with his security detail. There are a ton of important people in these rooms. And then, when it's time to go into the dinner, you go through the mags, finally, and they're right outside the doors of the ballroom. So that is the only time, you know, we're asked to go through a metal detector, they check our purses and bags, and then we're allowed in. Look, there's going to be a whole investigation, there's going to be conversations about venues and security, you know, the Secret Service, and they had a job to do to protect the president, and I think they did that. They secured the ballroom that he was in. He wasn't anywhere else in the building. But the rest of the building, I mean, anybody could have walked in and walked around. It was still open. It's a hotel. It's open for business. You can't ask a hotel to shut down for one night for the White House Correspondents Association. That's not going to happen. And I think what you have to think about is, I traveled with the president a lot during the campaign trail. I covered him before Butler, after Butler. There were changes made after Butler. But I remember one night I stayed at a hotel that Vice President, then Kamala Harris, was staying at, and they had locked it down. I mean, you could not get into the hotel unless you went through a mag right at the front entrance. And, you know, they took it very seriously. I don't know why the protocol is different from a president or a vice president staying the night at a hotel or just visiting a hotel. I think there's going to have to be conversations. If a hotel is a future venue, I don't know that it's going to be. You know, the president certainly doesn't feel comfortable. I think he said that it may not be the right venue. But if it's going to be, if it has to be, we have to start talking about increasing security. He is not a normal president. I mean, how many times do we have to have this conversation over and over again? This is not a typical president. He is under an insane amount of threats. We have to start treating it that way. We have to have these important conversations with the association, the venue, and Secret Service.
You know, Aisha, knowing him, he's going to want to have this correspondence dinner, and sooner rather than later. So these conversations better happen in a hurry. And if I know Aisha Eisen, you'll be there for the next White House correspondence dinner. It's so nice to have you tonight. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Coming up, last night was supposed to be fun, not deadly. Are there any safe places or sanctuaries left in our country? Olivia Beavers with the Wall Street Journal was in the room last night, and she gives us her eyewitness testimony next.
Here at Allegiance, we feel like American flags should be made in America.
When we started Allegiance, we were shocked to learn how many American flags were actually being made overseas.
Every flag we make is proudly crafted in the USA with superior materials.
Join us in our mission to keep the American flag truly American.
Visit showallegiance.com to order your high-quality American flag today. That's showallegiance.com.
Sensitive mouth and gums? Ever heard of Closest mouthwash? Your dentist and hygienist have. They know Closest is ultra gentle for sensitive mouths with non-burning mouthwashes that freshen breath, improve gum health, and strengthen teeth. Closest, the gentle mouthwash for sensitive mouths.
You know this grill, Miss Weber. What does he have this? first bite. Food we're talking about long after the plates are cleared. Now it's your turn to get out there. To grill that steak, those ribs, those wings, charcoal, griddle, gas, or pellet. However you fire it up, we're with you every step of the way. Weber, grilling begins here. Save on Spirit and Genesis now through May 12th at Weber.com or wherever Weber is sold.
Time doesn't make something timeless. Stardust. If you want your name to last forever, you have to build your legacy.